Good news, товарищи, the day we've all been waiting for is finally here. In fact, two good things happened today with Ukraine. First of all, Ukraine finally received first of its 4 high-mobility artillery systems, HIMARS, from the US. This has been the most demanded weapon by Ukrainians, and this will absolutely change the course of the war. And the second thing is that Ukraine was approved to be the official applicant member of the European Union. And speaking about these artillery systems, how good are these weapons for Ukraine? When can we expect the change in this war? And will Ukraine use it against the territory of Russia? And these are the questions that we're talking about in today's video. What's up, investors? Simon Shorthouse and people of Reddit, it's the Russian dude, and this is your daily update on the Russian-Ukrainian war as of Thursday, June 23rd. You can see the main events of the day to my right, along with the timestamps. Alright, so first and foremost, the biggest news of the day is that Ukraine finally received its first 4 high-mobility artillery systems, HIMARS, from the United States of America. This has been the most requested weapon by Ukrainians because they have simply no alternatives, and it is estimated that the range of these systems can be up to 50 miles, which basically means that Ukrainians will be able to hit Russian targets which are pretty far without being afraid for the response back. And like mentioned previously, until these artillery systems arrived, Ukrainians simply had no alternatives, which means that Russians had superiority in these kinds of strikes. Because of this, Ukrainians had to move closer and engage in much closer combat. And in addition to that, Russians were able to destroy Ukrainian targets from afar. But now, with the arrival of HIMARS system, everything changed. You already know that until this moment, Ukraine was relatively successful at resisting the majority of Russian attacks. And I've been saying this several times, that as soon as Ukraine gets these offensive weapons from the West, this is when things will change. And indeed, today is only the first day when Ukrainians just received these weapons, and Russian military representatives are already afraid. What I'm talking about here is the statement by the Minister of Defense of Russia, Sergei Shoigu, who said that Russia must reinforce all the bordering regions with Ukraine. And even though President Zelensky himself said that Ukraine will not be targeting the territory of Russia, this is still the statement of Sergei Shoigu. I just hope that Russians will not attack its own territories to create provocations so that it can justify its further invasion into Ukraine. In addition to that, one of the Russian politicians, Yuri Shvitkin, he said that because America sent these weapons to Ukraine, Russia must respond. And the one and only appropriate response of Russia is to target the embassies of America in Kiev, which is, to be honest, a pretty ridiculous and unthoughtful statement to make, because as you might already know, these territories of embassies in different countries, they're considered to be the territories of countries which these embassies represent, which basically means in case Russia attacks these US embassies in Kiev, it is basically the equivalent of Russia attacking the territory of America. But the good news don't end here. Even though Ukraine already received its first 4 HIMARS systems, America promised to deliver 4 more HIMARS systems in the nearest future. And even though it may take some time for Ukrainians to fully maximize the potential of these systems, the political advisor Colin Kahl, he mentioned that Ukrainians were already being trained by Americans to use these high-mobility artillery systems. Which allows me to estimate is that Ukrainians will effectively use HIMARS systems on the battlefronts somewhere in the next month. And this is when we'll start seeing drastic changes in the direction of this war. And by the way, if you like this style of daily news reporting, feel free to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, please make sure to check the link in the description if you wish to support Ukraine with us. You will get additional content, and all the proceeds will be donated to Ukraine at the end of each month. And a quick note about my charitable livestream, which was supposed to happen this Saturday. Unfortunately, I had a last minute change in my current work. That is why I will have to do this livestream tomorrow, Friday, June 24th. And so, if you are available to join tomorrow's livestream at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time, please mark your calendars. Thanks so much, and let's continue. Welcome to another episode of ridiculous Russian propaganda. And today we have this statement by the head of Orthodox Church of Russia, Patriarch Kirill, who is saying that Russian soldiers, they don't need money. What he basically says is that he is very impressed how high the morale of Russian soldiers is. He then also says that one and only reason why Russians are so successful in Ukraine, it's not because of the money. It's not because of the career opportunities. And it's definitely not because of all the potential rewards they might get in the future. And once again, the one and only reason why Russian soldiers are so successful, it is because of their faith. The faith which is in direct and indirect meaning of this word. And not just the faith in God, but the faith in the righteousness of whatever they are doing in the territory of Ukraine. And once again, it's definitely not about the money for Russian soldiers, so it will be pretty good if you transfer this money into our pockets. Okay, and the second major news for today is that the European Union has officially confirmed the candidacy status of Ukraine to join the Union. This is an extremely big step forward for Ukraine, because one of the reasons why this whole thing back in 2014 started is when Ukraine intended to join the European Union, which, as you already know, was not possible until today. The chances of Ukraine joining the European Union were pretty high, but there was still some doubts anyways. And it is estimated that one of the major turning points that made all the countries believe that Ukraine must join this European Union was the visit of several leaders of European countries last week. They saw themselves how bad is the situation in Ukraine and the willingness of Ukrainian people to do all the changes necessary to join the European Union. Besides Ukraine, another country that received a similar status was the country of Moldova. And the country of Georgia, even though it was also applying to become the member of the European Union, it only received this conditional status. And shortly after this decision, the flag of Ukraine was already seen in front of the European Parliament building. But okay, even though this is a massive step forward, the actual inclusion of Ukraine into the Union might take several years. For example, the country of North Macedonia is in this applicant status for 17 years. And the country of Albania is in the similar candidate status for 8 years, and they are still waiting to officially join the European Union. But I'm assuming because of the situation that is happening right now on the territory of Ukraine, the European Union will make this process a little bit faster. And one of the biggest advantages of being the member of the European Union is that Ukraine will get access to financing, investing, and other support from other countries. And of course, the citizens of Ukraine will be able to travel across Europe visa-free. So here is a quick update about these 3 mercenaries that are being held captive in Donetsk Republic. If you remember, these guys, 2 of them are from the United Kingdom and 1 is from Morocco. They're basically the prisoners of war of Russia and they're being charged with terrorism. And according to current laws of this independent Donetsk Republic, this always leads to a death penalty. And until recently, these people, they did not even know that they're facing death, simply because the verdict was obviously in Russian and it was not translated to them. But it looks like that recently they realized what they're facing, and it is expected now that they'll be asking for forgiveness. And I mean, of course, this is the good news that these guys will most likely avoid being killed, but at the same time you realize that this Donetsk Republic, it wants to be a part of the modern world, and at the same time they still allow death sentences. Here is your extremely quick update about the situation with the probably stolen Ukrainian wheat. The press secretary of Russia, Dmitry Peskov, he said that Russia never stole any wheat. And that's basically it. We of course believe him, case closed, and there is no more blame for Russia. Thank you so much for your attention, check the link in the description, stay safe, and see you tomorrow during my live stream at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time.